Hey everyone, welcome back to Crawl TV. It has been 7 days since we posted the video introducing the Bronco to the fleet, and since then a lot has happened on the Bronco really quickly, and it's already time for a massive update video for you guys to show you kind of what's going on with the Bronco and where it's at right now. You can see it behind us here. You may notice that the hardtop is no longer on it, the roll cage is no longer in it. And if you look closer, you might notice that it's missing some major components. The hood's not on it. We have a towel over the carburetor. But Steph and I are going to go through it, and we're going to show you what we have found as we have kind of undone this thing. And then we're going to talk about how it's going to go back together and what is going to be like the hardest part for us putting it back together, because there are some areas where I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
They're sad.
They're really sad. So let's get started and we'll show you guys around this thing. Okay, this is not the Bronco that I remember buying. What is going on here, Steph?
So a lot's changed. A lot of things are missing, but we did add one super great thing: new tires.
Oh,
I couldn't take the Swampers. So
really quick, sorry. The Swampers are currently on Paul's Jeep because he has not provided wheels and tires that actually fit this Jeep yet. He hates them, but you get what you get if you don't get your stuff rolling out of our shop.
These are actually off of Jarrett's CJ7. He got some really cool, nice Raceline bead locks. So I got some sweet hand-me-downs that are not super Swampers.
It looks so much better. Just that one change. And then we got the wheels and tires changed out. And then what happened next?
We tried to take the whole thing apart. We took both front fenders off the grill, which was a fiasco. I think we broke like
every
10
single
out of 12 bolts.
Yeah.
Ended up cutting them off with a cutting wheel instead of taking them off with a drill because we couldn't. So we finally got all that off. We got the hood off, hard tops off. We have the roll cage out. We found a lot of rust.
Front and rear bumpers came off.
Yeah.
The rear bumper did not come off nicely.
The rear bumper was welded to the exhaust pipes for extra support. It was good.
Yeah, you got the headlights out.
Yeah.
We started to uncover some of the major rust areas. So we have a hole missing here. This kind of support panel that the front fender mounts to, it's actually better on the driver's side, if you can believe that. But in both areas, we have like a huge rust area here. And I don't know for sure. This is, only the second early Bronco I've ever worked on, but I think that area on the fenders is actually where hinges may belong. So I don't know. We're going to find that out. This could be a hinge area or it could just be a common rust area, but both sides are gone. And then, well, there's so many rust areas to point out. This could be a whole video on its own.
Yeah, we bought a lot of replacement parts for the pieces that were really bad. Like up here, we bought and these door jambs that are not really there anymore. We bought replacements for those. There's no fixing that.
No. So yeah, let's take a closer look at this. This is called the cowl. And first of all, I'll point out that the previous owner removed the heating and air conditioning from this thing. So where there should be components in this, there are not. There's no blower motor. There's nothing attached to the controls in the dash. That could be like a future project, but that's not part of what we're doing here just to get this thing running and driving again. We can always attack that later if we want. Everything is bolt-on. But Steph ordered a replacement cowl panel, so it's going to be this entire piece here. And the worst part of the whole Bronco is actually these door jambs. So these 3 holes are where the upper hinge for the Bronco doors attach. And there's supposed to be 3 lower holes also, and they would be right around here. And I think that's the reason why they welded those plates in over here, which I had to carefully cut out, and now I'm going to have to do some patchwork to fill in this area. I think they committed to rocking those pink, they're way back there, but those pink fiberglass inserts so that you can run permanently doorless, because there's no way they were going to put doors back on it.
No.
There's just nothing left. So
Your doors would fall off as you were driving down the road.
yeah. So let's talk about all the things you ordered. We covered the cowl, we covered the door jambs. What else did you get?
We ordered inner and outer rockers to replace this.
And that is this whole piece here. It extends all the way over, and I think it just goes, it maybe doesn't go all the way to the edge of this, but I think it goes all the way over and kind of down here. I know it covers this hole and these bolt holes. And so there will be a flange here, right, that covers this area and goes over this support. Comes back, goes over this, all the way over here, and then it ties into this rear door jamb. So, inner rocker panels, both sides, obvious replacement.
Yeah, we ordered driver and passenger floor pans and supports that go under the floor pans, because the support that's right here is not there anymore.
What? You don't need floor pans.
It's like the Fred Flintstone.
You just kind of dangle your feet down, and then you know when you're crossing water. In all seriousness, the floor pans are extremely gone in this thing. I don't know if I've ever seen a vehicle that's lacking so much floor pan.
The passenger side has more, and that's not really saying much. There's still not very much over there. But the driver's side has nothing.
Yeah.
It's gone.
So there is some metal that we're going to have to replace on the floor pans before we can even install them, though, right? So in this tunnel area where the transmission is, obviously we don't want to save any of this rust. We're probably going to use this as a cut line because we don't want to save all these rivet holes. The previous owner drilled 10 million holes and put rivets everywhere in this thing.
Everywhere. I'm not kidding. We've probably drilled out like 200 plus rivets. I'm sick of it.
Yeah. And actually we have a scrap pile here. This is all like, oh, sorry, copper. This is all like aluminum signs and stuff that they had made into floor pans, and they glued them in and then siliconed them on. And anyways, that all came out and revealed that there is no floor at all. But before the new floor pans can go in, the floor pan ends. It's a flat piece that ends. It doesn't have any lip up on it. And this upper floor area just has a little bit of rot in it. And so luckily that's a really easy piece to recreate. We'll cut the rust out about an inch down from this and an inch inside of this, and then we'll weld in a full plate with a lower flange to hold the back of that floor pan. So I am going to have to find somebody with a brake so that I can actually bend that sheet metal. Shouldn't be too big of an issue. And we'll do the same over here, but we don't have to actually put a bend in it. We just want to put a clean piece of metal down to this point, because that floor pan will overlap this, and we can plug weld that and stitch weld the edges, seam seal it, and it'll be good as new. Like Steph mentioned, this front floor support is actually in okay shape, but the one over here rusted out on the passenger side, so we're going to actually replace that, and that'll have to happen before the floor pans get replaced. So there's still a lot to cut out, to clean up, but the structure of this tub is intact. It's just the tin body members that rusted, and all of that can be replaced.
Yeah.
I think what we've discovered about this Bronco is that
you can buy piece by piece.
you can totally build one of these out of a catalog.
Yeah, you can. It'll cost you, but you can do it.
Yeah. So let's go through some more things that we have found as we've taken this thing apart.
This is a Jeep gas cap.
Oh, yeah.
Who puts a Jeep gas cap on a Bronco?
Oh, man.
Come
The
on.
stupid Jeep
Yeah,
people.
jeez. Somebody did a really nice job cutting custom these fenders,
Wheel wells.
wheel wells.
Yes. I can actually remember, so I've owned a few Jeep XJs in my life, and in order to run 33s on a Jeep XJ, the standard thing to do is to figure out your arc on your wheel well, and then once you have that arc traced out, then you put tick marks in it, and you cut those tick marks with a Sawzall, and then you hit those little edges with a hammer, and you can actually bend them in all the way around the wheel well. The previous owner kind of did that in some areas. You can see where they've hammered the sides in, but they did such a bad job with their cut line. It's even worse on the
Yeah, this is
passenger
the
side.
good. This is the good side.
So
yeah.
what I'm going to have to do is we're going to reuse the flares, so it's not a problem, but I want to clean this up. So we'll have to replace this area on this fender anyways, but what I want to do is I just want to recreate a line that's about a ½ inch lower than all of these rivet holes, and I want to make a nice rounded, like at least decently acceptable. Nobody's going to ever see it, but I can't live with that. So we'll get out the die grinder and those little tiny 3-inch cutting wheels. We'll make a nice clean cut, and it'll look like it never happened.
Yeah, it'll be good. Better
Yeah.
than that. Somebody also riveted over the factory mount for a radio antenna, so that's nice. Those are supposed to be there. Somebody drilled and riveted 50 holes around it.
Yep, it's just more crap to patch now. Thank you so much, previous owner.
And something small, but that bothers me, is if you look at this light, this is a flathead and this is a Phillips. Why are you doing that to me? Jerks.
So we drove this thing in here, right?
Yeah.
And we got it in, and we could barely breathe because of all the toxic gas fumes.
It was awful.
The intake manifold was covered in gas by the time that I pulled it in here. I'm lucky I didn't catch this thing on fire, but you can see there's still old gas in it, and it's all old, like sticky, varnished fuel. This old Motorcraft 4-barrel carb is leaking. These things originally came with a Motorcraft, like a 2100 2-barrel carb, basically the same carburetor that's in that Jeep right there and that Jeep right there. But at some point, somebody modified this. They put a different intake manifold on it, and they threw a 4-barrel on it off of like a, I think it was like a 85 to 87 Ford truck. So anyways, that carb, we're going to have to figure out if we're going to rebuild it or just replace it with something else, or if we're going to go with fuel injection. So it's all stuff to consider.
Speaking of bad gas, we took the gas tank out.
Yeah.
It leaked, so we had to buy one of those too.
The
It also had no supports on it,
Yeah.
so that was good.
The gas tank was held up by plumber's tape. And if you don't know what that is, it is just this galvanized strapping with a bunch of different holes in it. It's used to attach things to the walls and stuff if you're putting in rough plumbing. And it was attached to the frame with self-tapping sheet metal screws. And it was 2 of these that were holding up a 20-gallon fuel tank. So that thing was ready to just fall out of the Bronco anyways. We took the fuel tank out and we were going to clean it up, and then we realized that it leaked around the filler neck.
Yeah.
And then we pulled the sending unit out of it to dump all the rest of the gas out, and the sending unit was gone.
Yeah.
So they have that little filter sock on the end of the pickup tube, and it was crusty. So
we added it to the list.
Yeah. Steph bought a $200 complete fuel tank system with a strap with fuel filler hoses,
New sending unit.
a new sending unit, and the new ring and gasket for the sending unit. So kind of everything you need. Like I said, or like Steph said, you can basically buy these things out of a catalog. So if you run into major problems, like, you know, these are obviously not like easy things to fix, the stuff we're talking about. But every part you can imagine is available for these. And
we bought half of them.
Yeah. That's why we got this vehicle for $10,000.
Yeah. We also took the hardtop off.
Yep.
Roll cage is off.
Yep. I think I'm going to modify this roll cage. I want to remove these bars that go behind the seats because Steph wants to put in a center console. So she wants to be able to tilt the seats forward so people can get into the back. And you're not going to be able to do that with these big, stupid bars in the way. So we'll modify this thing a little bit, maybe triangulate it in some areas, make it a little stronger. But for what it is, it's fine. Hopefully you never roll it, you know?
I hope so. Yeah, we also took the hood off, took the scoop off the hood. There's a big old circle missing out of the middle of it. They also cut a support out of the middle of it. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to replace that too.
By cutting the support out, what did they do to the hood?
It definitely creased it. There's here on both sides, you can tell that it was bent at some point.
Yep. So we'll have to reinforce the edges, put a new, whatever that's called, channel through the middle of it, cut out a circle and weld that in, sand it down, Bondo it, paint it, and
Do
make
it
it look like it
all.
never happened.
Yeah.
And then patina it, hopefully.
Yeah.
So,
We got a long list.
yeah. Talk to me about what's going to happen next before we even get this thing rolling again.
We are going to take the tub off the frame. We bought all new body mounts. We took 2 body mounts out and the bolt was like
It was like a toothpick.
non-existent.
Yeah.
So if one's like that, chances are there's more than one that's like that.
And we want to treat the frame.
Yeah.
So we watched this video on YouTube, and it was by Collins Brothers Jeeps, and they did a, like,
I think it was KBS Rust.
yeah, it was like a not frame off restoration is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
They left the drivetrain in the frame, suspension on, but they treated the frame for rust. And I really think that that's important that we do that on this to address, there's no rust through the frame,
But there's rust on the frame.
but there's rust on the frame. And if we need to take the extra time and clean the frame up and then do a rust preventative on it, do an internal rust treatment on it, you know,
do it now when it's all apart
Yeah.
rather than having to do it later.
I would hate to get all this work done and then have to deal with that later. So
We're taking the body mounts off anyway.
exactly.
So just
So
do it.
there's only a few things that we have to disconnect in order to get the tub off. We have to disconnect the steering column, the pedal assemblies, the shifter, a lot of the wiring connections, because most of the wiring is in the tub. And it's all stuff we can put back together, but it would make, while it's harder up front to do all of that, it'll be much better later if we have the frame completely treated, completely painted. Then we'll get the new shocks on it. It'll be ready to bolt back onto the, well, the tub will be ready to bolt back onto it. We can kind of approach this project as 2 separate halves, right? So we have a frame half and a tub half. I think that that's the way we're going to go with this. So this weekend, Steph's dad's coming out, and I think our goal is going to be to get the tub off of this frame. While we're doing all this sheet metal repair on the tub, we can work on the frame, get that all done, and get it ready to put the tub back on. So that's our update for you guys on the Bronco. For anybody who said it cannot be done, it can be done. I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
These Broncos are increasingly rare. They're super hard to find. And I challenge anybody to find one in this condition for less than $10,000.
We saw a golf cart on Facebook Marketplace. It was a Bronco golf cart that was way more than we paid for this thing.
Yeah.
Granted, there was no rust, but it's a golf cart.
It's a golf cart. It's fiberglass body on a battery pack. So we're going to put in the necessary effort and time to get this thing fixed up. This is a very long-term project. We're aware of that. But at the end of the day, Steph is going to have an incredible vehicle. And
It's going to be sweet.
I can't wait to share it with you guys. So we have a long way to go. We'll share more of the process as we get deeper into it. Getting this thing ripped apart was not something that I thought was necessary to film, because it's just
There was a lot of just drilling rivets.
chaotic dismantling. Yeah, it was drilling rivets. It was cutting every single nut and bolt because none of them would turn because they were all rusty. And we're getting this thing down to the bones so that we can start putting it back together. And that's when we're really going to pick up on the content with the Bronco
Yeah.
to kind of share how it all comes together. So Steph's got a massive parts pile and a
more on the way.
really big to-do list. And anyways, we're going to keep chipping away at it. And the next video we share, hopefully the tub will be coming off of the frame.
Yeah.
And we'll be taking a closer look at our frame and drivetrain to see what that needs.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you on the next episode of Crawl TV.
Bye.
Bye.